Batman and Robin, issue 9, legacy number 75. Joshua Williamson writing with Simone DeMeo and Nicola Shemesha on the art. So
we're getting better. We're getting better at that pronunciation.
I'm doing my best. This,
Yeah. No, I meant that sincerely.
Yeah, that's all I could do. All I could do is try.
Yes.
So I've been mixed on this book because obviously all the villain stuff and Batman and Robin chasing down Shush has been kind of whatever. But the things that I have liked about this book is Damien going to high school and all the potential things that can be and lead to.
And bringing back Flatline.
Flatline, yeah. I did think the issue that focused on like Flatline going after her sister, whatever, was a bit of an annoying issue.
I found the plot of it was a bit like, okay, whatever, yeah. And the double crossing, triple crossing, all that. But like, just the two of them bantering off each other was really solid.
Yeah, So the last issue wasn't in love with most of it, but it did set up that Flatline's going to go into school with Damien undercover, and Joe, it is because I'm looking at the page where they're sitting at the lunch table together, and Damien and Civvies with a red hoodie on,
with those sunglasses.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a Connor Kent kind of vibe going there.
He really does.
But I was like, oh, this is exciting. This is them working together, being like a high school couple almost, trying to deduce and figure out, like, and get into this issue as well. I've been saying for issues and issues that, okay, the principal that he thinks is his old trainer is a red herring, and it's actually the teacher who's nice to him that's going to turn out to be the old trainer or something, right? So what I did not expect after the setup last issue is that we'd get all of this answered and be done with this investigation in the very next issue. I was surprised by that. And then I was also surprised that both teachers turned out to be someone within seconds of each other being revealed.
Yeah, like technically she was a red herring because she wasn't Shush, but she was still someone connected to his past. And like, yeah.
Well, I think
very convenient.
Up until now, I think I was thinking that Shush might also be the woman from his past, but now, no, they're two different people. So the teacher is nice to him, Shush, and she comes in and saves the day when... But even just a moment, because they start a food fight in the cafeteria to get her thrown in detention so they can spend time with the principal to try and grill her. And how
also, is this a normal thing for American schools?
What, food fight?
Detention with the principal.
Oh,
it depends. It depends on the school, right? Like if this is like a boarding school, I could see the principal trying to be like.
Do you know what's funny is that's not the question I had. The question I had is how many high schools have a room labeled detention for detention? Usually it's just a classroom or whatever.
It's just a classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my school, we did have a separate room that was for the kids that were like excluded or suspended.
Mm.
Yeah, we call that in-house. So it's in-house suspension. So.
Yeah,
they can't go to class, but they're not staying at home. So
yes, we did have a separate room for that because we had enough of those on a regular basis that we needed one.
From the rough city streets of wherever you're from.
Yeah. Hey, full of chavs where I'm from. not a great area. But yeah, the idea of just going to like detention, like the idea of a collective detention, even is weird for me. You always just had detention. The class of the teacher who gave it to you.
Pretty much, yeah. Something like that. But my big thing here was just how quickly she just says, oh, screw it, alright, fine. Like, I'm her. Like there's almost no build-up. He accuses her again. She's like, oh, not this again, Mr. Wayne. And then he just yells at her, and she's like, oh, you always were a little brat. Yeah, it's me! And I've been training other students.
All my teenage goons.
Yeah, and I'm like, just like that, we've been teasing this for like a couple of arcs, and just like that, she's just going to just drop the act and admit it. Like I guess he's going for this idea that because he yells that she's a bad teacher, it gets on her nerve, but like it's just not satisfying at all.
Let me tell you, the teachers I know, that wouldn't phase any of them. So, you think I'm a bad teacher? You suck as a student. Just sit down, shut up.
Yeah, it was such an underwhelming reveal. I'm like, okay, she's just exactly who he thought he was. And that's it. Like, he was convinced she was this teacher from back in his League of Assassins days. Turns out she's exactly that, and it's revealed and it's just such a whimper.
But she's not Shush.
She's not Shush, no.
Out there.
So they beat up her goons, and then she grabs one of her students and puts a gun to his head. and escalates the whole situation. And that's when in comes the teacher who's been nice to him with a taser, and then she whispers something into one of the students to make them leave. And then that's where Damien's like, wait a minute, you're shush. You just used the shush voice, the whisper powers. And she's like, yeah, I was a villain, but then your dad saved me. So now I'm conflicted about working with Man-Bat. So I'm going to help you find where Batman is because he's kidnapped Batman. And that's basically it. She also explains that she did train under Tommy Elliott, so she is tied to Hush. She was like his student when he was a doctor and like followed in his teachings or some bollocks. I mean, it's not that exciting.
Who cares?
So wait, so is so I'm looking at the League of Comic Geeks page on this, and there's a character named Mistress Harsh.
That's Damien's old trainer.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's her name, but that's not the name she was going by at the school.
No, she was principal,
right.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's real on the thing.
Yeah.
So
she's also injured, and what's weird is she basically says the injury she's got that makes her collapse is from the last time she was fighting and like Batman saved her. And I'm like, wait, you were totally acting normal up until this panel, as if there was no problem going on. So I thought that was a bit weird as well. So yeah,
and then she's like literally like bleeding out of nowhere.
Yeah, and she's like, hey, go and like, you know, find Batman, blah blah. Principal's like, Flatline's, I'll take care of Principal Stone. You go and deal with your father, and gives him a wink. What I want to talk about, so to go back to the earlier in the issue, because there's a whole scene with Batman and Man-Bat before we got to all the school stuff. I did not like Man-Bat referencing like his time in Justice League Dark and referencing like Task Force.
Oh, it was great,
but
then they just threw me in Arkham. Like, what?
Yeah, it was so weird because one, he doesn't look anything like he did in those runs. Like he's this big sort of smooth monster in this book. He looks nothing like.
It's a lot more demonic. Yeah.
It's just kind of weird for him to bring that up. Batman's like, oh, but you worked with Zatanna and Wonder Woman, you were better, and it just feels
he's
like
yeah, where did it get me?
Yeah, he's like just shoving it away, and I'm like, this just feels like such a cheap comic book thing because okay, you want him to be a villain, you don't like that he was turned into more of a like an anti-hero or like an ally. And you're retconning it in the quickest, laziest way possible.
Outright good in that series. I know you didn't read all it, but he was outright just a hero.
But I know the feeling though, because I love Clayface as an ally and detective, and then when they just threw that away like it was nothing because the next writer wanted to be bad guy.
Yeah, give me a good reason. Like especially with Man-Bat, you can do the Jekyll Hyde thing, right? To where now the bat creature, the primal side, is taking over. You know, but this though they threw me in Arkham, so screw the heroes. That's just lazy. Yeah,
it felt unfulfilling. So yeah, after the skull stuff, Damien goes looking in the sewer systems or whatever. Man-Bat's made his own bat cave because he was jealous of Batman having one.
All right, I like that.
You know, it's fine. I have no issues. And then when he goes looking, because he sees that there's like a map and there's like plans for Man-Bat to release some sort of Man-Bat toxin or something throughout the city. He goes up to a rooftop, Man-Bat's there, and he monologues about his father a bit.
Also, just on that map, this is the map that I don't know if it was the last issue or the issue before. Batman was like completely stumped by. He was like, I don't recognize this at all. This matches no map of Gotham I could think of. The extra lines that were drawn. They're not like tunnels or anything. He's like, I don't get it. Damien takes one look, and he's like, well, yeah, obviously they're Bat's flight patterns. Surely Batman would know that.
You would think. I mean, he does at least have a line of dialogue where he says, Father, sometimes you're as blind as a bat, to at least imply that he should have figured it out.
He does, but, like, Bruce uses bats, like, semi-regularly.
Yeah. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I will concede that. And then, yeah, it's just, the ending's just, you know, Man-Bat being like, aha, my plan is beginning, the bats are flying, and, well, you stop me, probably. It's a comic book.
Yeah.
This has always been a mixed book. There's always been like fun bits sprinkled in amongst the other stuff, and typically when it's focused on Damien, it's a bit better. And I think that's because one of the best things that Williamson's written was that Robin book. So whenever he's just playing with that, it feels like it fits better.
It's tended to have pretty good art as well, which has made it pretty easy to read for the most part.
Yeah, much like all Williamson books, it flows pretty well most of the time. It's not like a chore to read by any stretch. But again, just quickly just wrapping up an interesting status quo that you just set up at the end of last issue. Like, we couldn't even get like a scene of like Flatline pretending to be like in class or something, or them like doing other school stuff that would have been interesting scenarios to see them like tested by having to act normal in like normal like situations. Nope, it's already over. One scene in the lunch hall, that's it.
Yeah.
Nope, don't like that.
Yeah, so disappointing. So the only word I've got for it. It's just it whiffs on its potential once again.
Yeah, I think like this was a easier or better read than the Action Comics issue for me.
Mm.
I think maybe that's part of it. Is just it's a simpler plot, and I think the at least having Damien there grounds it a little bit more. You know, as like there's something to catch on to, as opposed to the other one where it's just kind of a bit all over the place.
Yeah,
this was a little bit more coherent, even if it is still Williamson moving through things too fast, like Williamson does.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't even have too much to add, really. I will say that in this art, I don't really love the look of Man-Bat. It feels a little bit too flat and smooth, I guess, is the best I can describe it.
That's fair. I like it, but I'm a reasonable fan of Simone Demia's work in general. I think it's really stylish, and it is like a stylistic take on Man-Bat. So
Yeah.
it is a matter of just taste and preference as to whether or not you like it. I don't think it's objectively good or bad.
Mm. All right, we can rate. Connor, what are you giving it?
I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I agree with that. 6 out of 10 for me as well.